Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So we all know Robert Garcia is going to be training AJ for the rematch with Usyk. Now, this is the thing, and this is why I like Robert Garcia. Robert Garcia just does not care. This guy says what comes to his mind. He's willing to have a confrontation, whether it's constructive or not constructive. He just doesn't care. But when it comes to Anthony Joshua and getting ready for the rematch to try to recapture the IBF, IBO, WBA, and WBO heavyweight titles, Robert Garcia feels that Anthony Joshua should have never lost the first fight because he felt that Robert McCracken didn't have a game plan. He said he wouldn't even call what he had Joshua doing or planning on doing in that fight with Usyk a game plan. He felt it was more like just poor instructions. He says Anthony Joshua is the type of fighter who listens to his corner. Even if he's in the ring and he's losing, he's going to keep doing what the corner said because he trusts his corner. He said at some point in that fight, he feels Anthony Joshua should have broke away with the corner's lack of game plan and just did what he felt came naturally, which was to fight and to not try to outbox the boxer. And Robert McCracken is pissed. And you know that's going to happen. But the thing about, what's his name, Robert Garcia, a lot of people don't really give this guy, I don't think people really know who Robert Garcia was, man. You know, they just see him as this trainer. But a lot of people don't realize that this man was the NABF Super Featherweight Champion, the NABF Featherweight Champion, the IBF Super Featherweight Champion, and the WBA Super Featherweight Title Challenge, and then he ended up retiring. You know, he stands at 5'7". His reach was 67 inches, and he's 47 years old right now, man. So his nickname is Grandpa. And the thing about Robert is he had, I think it was 37 fights, 3 losses. So he had a very successful career. He fought for 9 years. Actually, it was 37 fights, 34 wins, and 3 losses. And out of those 34 wins, 25 are by knockout. So he can get busy. But that being said, he knows what he's looking like. He knows what he's looking at. And when he speaks, even if he chaps somebody's hide and they don't like what he's saying, you got to be quiet and listen to what he's saying, because this guy has trained a lot of fighters to go in and fight against champions where his fighter wasn't supposed to win and they pulled off the upset. Okay? So he knows what he's doing. He's been there, done that. He's been a trainer for a long time. I think he was a Ring Magazine Trainer of the Year at one point. Then he has his dad there as well. And look what he did for his brother. But there's so many fighters that have come in underneath him. And I really don't think a lot of people realize just how many people he's trained. So I'm going to go down and we're going to talk about a couple of fighters that he's trained. You know, Chris Algieri, Alan Benitez, Alfonso Blanco, Felipe Campa, Francisco Contreras, Nonito Donaire, Mikey Garcia, Alfonso Gomez, Juan Guzman, you guys should all know who that is, Cavaliaskas, that's the guy who beat Jamal Charlo, but they robbed him. That's the guy. He trained him. Maidana, you guys know, Abner Maris, Antonio Margarito, Victor Ortiz, you all know that, Kelly Pavlik, Brandon Rios, Mia St. John, Fernando Vargas, Brian Viloria. He brought Brian Viloria back from the dead. Brian Viloria, his career looked like it was going to be over, and he brought him back from the dead. So now he has Anthony Joshua. And he has Joshua Franco, who's the current WBA Super Flyweight Champion. So there were concerns about Robert Garcia being 5'7", trying to hold mitts for the 6'7" Joshua and being able to train him. And that's proven to not be a problem at all. So I'm going to be very interested in seeing what Robert Garcia does. But the one thing he keeps foot stomping, and this is what I think is great, is he's saying that when you have somebody that's a lot smaller than you, and you have the weight, height, reach, and power advantages, then you need to take advantage of that. And he says it seems like it wasn't even a game plan. He said, I wouldn't even call it a game plan. It was just wrong instructions that Robert McCracken was giving Joshua. And I'm like, wow. But he calls it like he sees it. he's not trying to be disrespectful, but he said it was totally wrong. And Joshua's a fighter who listens to his corner, so he did what he was told. And as a result, he didn't perform to his potential and he lost. But he says now the way it's looking, they're listening to us. We have our meetings with him. He's happy. And, he's hungry again. And he said he wants to do it, not just for himself, but for them as well, talking about Robert Garcia and the team. So I think that's huge coming from a guy like Joshua, because most boxers, they want to do it for themselves. Yeah, they care about the team, but they're all about themselves. And he's saying with AJ, it's not like that. AJ is genuinely a good guy who wants to make everyone look good, and it's not just about him and his pockets. And that's outstanding. But with Robert Garcia, he's done this many times before, and the thing with him is it doesn't have to be a super middleweight, super heavyweight, middleweight, lightweight, flyweight. Doesn't matter. He's going to come, he's going to train them. His fighter's going to go in there to win, and he's going to go in there and upset people, and that's what he plans on doing in the rematch between AJ and Usyk. So good stuff from Robert Garcia. Good to hear that AJ is kind of, motivated again and wants to come back and regain his titles. That's what you want to hear coming from a corner. And, you can't help but expect Anthony Joshua to feel motivated, to feel excited, because he's been riding and dying with his guy for a long time. And when, in the last 4 fights, you take 2 losses, and obviously those 2 losses were the wrong game plans, it's time to get a different set of eyes inside there that maybe can add on to the foundation that's already been laid and help give you that additional layer that can get your titles back and have you on a good run for the next few years where you continue to defend your titles and stay undefeated. Because AJ doesn't mind paying sanction fees. It caps out at $200,000 a belt, so he doesn't care. Man's making over $100 million a fight now with that new deal, that broadcasting deal with DAZN. This man's making over $100 million, so he's already got a lot to do. But in the next 5 or so, 6 fights, if he's still making over $100 million, man will be a billionaire. So what does he care about paying about $800,000, about $800 to $1 million to sanctioning bodies just to hold on to those titles? He doesn't care. He's all right. But good stuff. I'm gonna leave it as that. You guys take care. Robert Garcia, I know for a fact, and you can't disagree with this, he does get in there, man, and make fighters better. Look what he did with Josecito Lopez. Look what he did with Brandon Rios. I mean, especially Josecito Lopez. He really turned that guy's career around. He really did. And if he can do it for them, he can do it for Anthony Joshua. So I'm picking Anthony Joshua to win the rematch. But that being said, man, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to all the veterans, and as always, I'm in the breeze.